shot the film in 20 days for $150,000. 20 very long days, and that's probably what they spend on food.
Also, from how I noticed, in memory of, toward the end, I take it, I was going to ask the research or from personal experience of people dying or near-death experiences. Did this come from people you spoke to or people that you knew personally? Like I noticed the name at the end of the in memory of.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, these were themes that I was just always interested in, and I had started writing them actually when I was still in school. It was just the scenes. I had done some volunteer hospice work when I was younger. So it was a short film, and it was just the scene between two women in the hospice talking about life and death. So it was very kind of, there wasn't a real story to it. It was just sort of an excuse to do that. And then later on, after I'd done my first film, I was a bit burned out, and I found those pages again. And was like, all right, let me see if I can flesh it out with other experiences and people I knew. But the gentleman's name at the end, John Morehouse, a good friend of mine that I met. She was from England, and she came here. And at the time, her father had terminal, like they knew he was going to die. He maybe had 6 months, 3 months. He was sort of doing his last year. He made peace with his family, and he was a really interesting gentleman. He liked my first film a lot. We had talked, and I told her, I was like, I'm going to dedicate the film. And sadly, he passed before we could do it and see it, but we got it done and put his name on it. So he's traveling the world with the film right now. Nobody wants to talk about dancing vaginas?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Oh, heaven? No, that's actually, I'd seen something, an actress I dated maybe 10 years ago did an off Broadway performance where it was very feminist and very like a Greek tragedy, and then all of a sudden there was this giant plush vagina. And I said, someday, not only is that amazing, but someday I'm going to...
Takes vagina monologues.
We're going to do 3 of them. We're going to take it a step further. Yeah.
We're going to have them fight.
And fight, yeah.
Really don't.
There was like a half-hour fighting that we cut out of the movie. It was all...
Yeah, that's a whole nother movie in itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's wire work. You missed out on that.
Yeah.
You talk about things you cut out. What, in writing it, what did you leave on the writing floor, I guess? What were the parts that you felt passionate about earlier on, and as you put all the pieces together, you had to say, well, this socks I put somewhere else, this is going to fit. Were there things that had to be left out?
I think from the shooting script, I think it was more trimming stuff in the scenes, making the scene shorter, maybe some like fat. I think we shot pretty much everything, and there were some scenes. There was more subplot with the two characters, the roommate and the French guy, and their relationship after they got together at Thanksgiving and how that affected them. I had a difficult time with one of the actors, not the French guy, the other one. So between that and some other stuff and just needing to trim, the film was running already too long, about 2.5 hours. So we just kind of trimmed that out and kind of focused on the other people's parts.
The montage at the end with the girl and her father, was that a scene that had to be cut, or did you always need for that to
That was always montage.
Okay.
He actually, you could hear his line. He's a really good actor, and for some reason his line was, "I really missed you, honey." But he delivered it like he was Vincent Price, and was like, "I missed you, honey." I wish I was making that up. That's literally exactly what it sounded like. So we kind of took that out because it destroyed everything. Put it nicely. But no, that was always meant to be the montage and stuff like that.
The band for the
French guy.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Well, we might, it's a band within the band. That was actually assembled. The drummer is actually Chuck Treese, who was in Bad Brains, and he torched the Lemon Heads and does a ton of stuff. So it was kind of a mixture of really cool local Brooklyn artists, but the French guy's punk rock band is called It Only Hurts When I Weep.
I saw
We like,
like
yes,
we, like
yes,
we,
yeah.
yeah.
It's not a real band, but we're thinking of assembling them.
Genius.
If we get that guy back in the country legally,
Yeah.
we'll assemble them.
We sell t-shirts.
We will. Well, actually, it's really quick, and you might not have seen it, but our production designer did a really good job where she took a middle finger, and it was the Eiffel Tower. So that was their logo. So maybe we will sell t-shirts. Commerce.
As you're moving the movie around from town to town, so I got t-shirts.
I know. I've got to start being more commercial. We can sell plush vagina bases too.
Yay!
In certain towns, maybe some, not so much. Yeah. Next Friday at the rally, you'll see a bunch of people wearing.
The band, contract or anything? If you do get your movie picked up and
Sure.
get a big push for it, I mean, how do you?
I mean, the rights to the music.
Rights
That was
to
all
the
taken
music.
care of ahead of time.
Yeah.
I had worked with the sound guy before it was assembled, and even the composer before. They're all local musicians. They play with a lot of musicians. So what I did is when I knew I was doing this film, there's going to be this band, and I also knew I need score and music. I pretty much told them ahead of time. So about a year before we started shooting, they were figuring out like what it was going to be and getting everybody together and doing the paperwork. So he handled all that, and we paid and compensated everybody. So it was all just made. It was actually created for the film. So
The music was for the film. That's great.
the one thing that we actually got somebody, a music supervisor, to get a track was like a reggae track when they're really drunk and about to kiss. And so we just were like, we needed something sad for that.
Was it really?
No. But I guarantee you, everybody in that room was a lot more high because we had to blow a bunch of smoke in the room, and we're shooting and it's hot with all I mean, when you're on a film set, just to make something look kind of lit, you have tons and tons of hot lights. So imagine it being like 120 degrees, and they're there for hours, and someone's just going around with like a smoke machine. Constantly, people are walking into things. So it was maybe the weirdest night ever.
I got a question. I guess it's a two-part question. One, who are your, or do you consider influences, cinematic influences that may have been sprinkled within the film? The second question, it's completely unrelated, is what's the mindset like as a man writing a screenplay where a woman's the main character?
I'll start with that one just because I get asked that a bit. For me, it was just knowing Molly, the actress who played the lead, and just giving her a chance. And for me, if I write, there's not enough parts for females today, and you see enough with guys, and there's so much more to explore. But mostly when I write it, I'm not thinking like, oh, this is a female. I just write whatever the character is as honestly as I can, or at least in the story. So for me, then and then you get really talented people to play the parts, and then they kind of flesh out anything that I'm missing. So for me, it was just giving people that don't usually get the opportunity to do it, giving me a chance to be more creative, and just again focusing on the character. And the first question was about
just cinematic influences.
I mean, I pull from a lot of stuff. I think I'm as influenced from that as I am from, say, like just reading books and just all. I mean, music too. Music is the biggest. Why there's a lot of music in the film. I guess just the New York stuff. I mean, I was telling early Spike Lee, oddly enough, or like Martin Scorsese, is stuff like that, little bits. But I'm a big fan of mashing up genre, where like you go to see a film and sometimes it's just funny, or sometimes it's just dramatic, and I think you need a little bit of layers and stuff like that. And at some point, this turns into a weird ghost story. So for me, like I love like Billy Wilder was a great influence. He could do all kinds of films and jump, but they were still his films and they were still great characters, and you always knew it was him. So for me, that's kind of like you pay money and you want to see something, you can go on a journey to not know where it's going to take you. That's what I'm interested in.
You just kind of touched on what I wanted to ask. Like, what's your background? Like, how did you?
I'm a martial arts expert. Minor leagues.
That
No, not.
came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No, did you grow up with a love of movies and this is what you ultimately wanted to do, or just always like had this love of arts and music and?
I think a little bit more of that. I think I always wanted to be a storyteller. When I was a kid, I really liked doodling and like sketching and writing, and I thought I would end up being a graphic novelist or illustrator or something like that, like comic books. And then I realized I didn't like drawing all the time, and I wasn't as good as everybody else. But I really like storytelling, and I think what I ended up doing and gravitating towards film is that I really enjoy collaboration. I love working with people. I love working with the actors. I love working with the crew. And so for me, it's a great chance to just get involved in all these different aspects and combine the two, because film is like, there's images, there's music, there's different kinds of people and elements, and that's I think just storytelling.
Put it all together.
Yeah, I always like storytelling, and I think this is maybe the best medium where I can combine all those things.
Yeah, you can see that in the movie.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Now I don't have to karate chop you with my martial arts. try to intimidate and scare the audience after the movie, so nobody says anything. So if anyone was thinking of critiquing me.
Writer and director. Editing?
Yeah, I edited.
A lot of editing. Most of it.
I did. I cut the movie. I started out after I graduated school as an editor, so it used to be just to save money, and now it's part of the process.
Where did you go to school?
School of Visual Arts in New York.
And so what's your favorite aspect of the process?
Kind of editing. I think I love being on set, and so even when it's like hectic and crazy, I love solving the problems, and I love writing. But editing is really great because all the pressure in a way is kind of gone. Where it's already shot it. I don't have to worry about locations. It's just kind of it's not as lonely as just writing. Like even though I'm by myself in a room, I'm there with my family. I'm there seeing all the performances, the memories, and I'm doing the final draft. I'm putting it together. If it's just you and the page, that can be like intimidating because it's blank. You haven't even put it down yet. But now this is like, well, it's just all in the balls. I got the ball. Yeah. But
pieces just need to.
but I get to see my family. It's like even when I watch the film over and over and over and over and over and over. I was saying before, like I can kind of do it still because it's like a scrapbook for me. So
You just said you watch over. Is there parts of it where you're like, ooh, I could have changed that?
I'm so drunk now that when I watch the film, no, I'm just kidding. No, I literally, it's really funny you said that because I always see something different, and I think you can't. I think, especially being an editor, I don't think anybody's ever done. Even as a musician, you'll hear.
Editing, so I kind of.
Yeah. Any artist can look at it and eventually like. At some point you have to let it go, but like just even sitting there right now, it's like, ooh, somewhere in the end I was like, if I just switch these two scenes for a second, that would be. But I'm never going to do that. But
it's a done piece of art. And
you have to.
Yes. You have to. There's a certain point where you're just like, okay, it's not
Right.
George
Because
Lucas.
walk away.
what also happens, I think, with any piece, even if you're sketching or making music,
exactly.
once you're done and you start tweaking constantly, it changes stuff. So you can do it forever. It's like a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
So at some point you have to be like, all right, I'm done. You know.
What's next on your plate? What future projects you have going on?
Well, we're working on distribution for this right now. So if you guys liked it, you can get vocal about it. We have a Facebook page, Facebook/Things I Understand. You can email your friends, let us know when we're available online. Release pigeons of some kind. If you like the film, just be loud and vocal. If you didn't like the film, please stay home. Don't say anything. And then we're working on a new film called Wake Up in New York. So I did one film before this that's similar in vein. It's a New York story about a little bit younger crowd. And this one's say mid to late 20s, early 30s. So the next one is What Happens Next, which is the same kind of New York element. It's Little Valentine, New York. So hopefully we'll be shooting that come this winter. No dancing vaginas though. We're not allowed anymore. Don't tempt me, man. Don't tempt me. It'll be in 3D. It's gonna be awkward.
You already designed the rocket ship,
Yeah, on the spaceship, dancing penises. And they never let me make another movie. Thank you guys, man. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you so much. Support the festival, support Land, support Ohio. Thank you guys.